Recording this whole time? Why would you do this to me?
That was good. That was
My name is Eric Murphy. I use he, him pronouns, and I entered an excerpt from a longer play called The Aquarium play.
Who is your muse?
I don't really have a muse. I mean, I don't know. I should have, this was in the email too, like the question, so I should have known. Whoops, sorry, I shouldn't have gave that away about the, anyway.
What's the worst thing you've ever written?
When I was in high school, my English teacher really didn't like the paper I did for Death of a Salesman, but that's probably not what you meant. You probably meant play-wise, right? Alright. I wouldn't even consider that the worst thing I've ever written. That's just it. He just didn't like it. Anyway.
Hello.
Oh, I will. Oh, wait, I do know the worst thing I've ever written. Actually, no, I was kind of proud of that. Never mind. It was, we had to do a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. And so I did it that Little Red Riding Hood. It took place in the Soviet Union. It was in a lab in Siberia. And Little Red Riding Hood was a grown woman. She was like a Russian scientist. And then the Big Bad Wolf was this like genetically modified Siberian wolf that like, came back to get her. But I'm proud of that, so.
If someone were to give you $1 million to write a play, what would it be about?
But I had an idea for a little girl who she befriends. There's like a monster under her bed. And it's like a magic realism thing where it actually is a real monster. It's like somebody in like a crazy costume or something, and then they form a burgeoning relationship.
So monster thing.
Fuck! Sorry, you can edit that out. I forgot about that. Well, then never mind. I totally forgot that that was a thing. Yeah, my idea is Monsters, Inc. You're welcome.
Lights up on Karen, seated at the table and poring over a group of note cards and photos, preparing herself. Lydia enters.
Hey, Karen.
Lydia! How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Just preparing for the school group from Roaring Brook Elementary this week.
Right. That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about.
You wanted to talk to me?
I did. Yeah.
Well, sure. Go ahead.
Great. So basically, I just wanted to talk to you about. Well, you weren't planning on doing that one presentation, were you?
Which one?
The one about the ducks?
The real duck, duck, goose, avian coexistence and aquatic ecosystems?
No, not that one.
Nobody's ugly duckling, duck youth, and self-esteem?
No, not that one either. Gosh, I didn't know you had this many. No, the one about reproduction.
Duck snow bottle opener, duck reproduction via their corkscrew-shaped penises?
Yes, that's the one.
I was planning on doing it. Sure. I mean, it's a fascinating case study of the diverse ways in which animals mate.
Be that as it may, I wanted to talk to you about the possibility of giving a different presentation.
And why would I do that?
As educational as that presentation may be, it's not the most family friendly.
Lydia, I wrote it for a child audience.
Did you though?
Yeah, I mean, I've been head of education outreach for 6 years now, so I think I would know.
I just wanted to broach the subject with you because we've gotten some complaints in the past and I kind of see where they're coming from. Like, I just don't know that duck penises should be the biggest priority in terms of education.
Well, I would look pretty silly doing a presentation on penguin penises, Lydia. Penguins don't even have penises.
Karen, it doesn't have to be centered on penises. In fact, it definitely should not be centered on penises. Nobody told you that it should be, right?
They didn't have to.
I think that, especially with this audience, they're not really mature enough to talk about this kind of subject matter in a serious way. So
Only
maybe
one way to find out, am I right? Lydia, am I right?
No.
Hey guys.
Bryce, how are ya?
Oh, I'm good. Just kind of in Wednesday mode, you know?
Wednesday mode. Man, whoever heard of such a thing?
Hey, Lydia.
Hi.
I hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
Oh, of course not. No, we were just talking about one of the school groups for this week.
That's fun.
It will be if Miss Censorship Bureau over here would let me do my presentation.
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. I just don't know.
We're just talking about what's appropriate, especially for that kind of audience.
Right. It's important.
Yep.
So, what were you thinking in terms of topics?
I'm always drawn to lessons about specific animals, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm really interested in, animal properties and what makes them unique.
Right. That sounds good.
And so I thought, well, okay, I'll talk about ducks and I can talk about how they're similar to humans and how they're different because I just feel like you can get kids to care more about these animals if they have some kind of empathy towards them.
Right. It's funny. Have you ever heard of the Argentine wide-mouthed frog?
No, I don't think so.
It's an interesting one.
I've never heard of it.
Well, for starters, they live in Argentina, obviously, and they live near water. And their diet is pretty normal for frogs, like it's just insects and snakes and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But what makes them interesting is that they have this huge mouth, like that's why they're called the wide-mouthed frog, and they eat a lot. For example, they often eat prey as large as themselves, and they have this giant mouth, so that helps.
I'd imagine it would.
But sometimes, and this doesn't happen a lot, as you could guess, but sometimes they eat so much that they don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop, and their stomach literally rips open.
Wow.
Their stomach rips open because they can't help themselves. I mean, imagine being so oblivious and so self-destructive that you would rather keep eating than stay alive.
Are you still talking about frogs?
Which is ironic, right? I mean, because the whole point of eating is to keep yourself alive in the first place. Right?
Well, thanks for the lesson. Like I said, I'd never heard of what's it called?
The Argentine wide-mouthed frog.
Great. So I will keep that in mind. Thanks, Bryce.
No problem.
Alrighty, well, I'll see you guys.
It's a lot harder to ignore me when we're the only ones here.
I'm not ignoring you.
You're not talking to me.
I don't have to talk to you. Why would I talk to you, Bryce?
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
it's just
think about it, Bryce. Why would I?
you wouldn't.
This is everyone's break room. Everyone uses it.
I know what a break room's for.
Doesn't seem like it.
Then what does it seem like?
It seems like you would rather torment me because I'm not giving in to your demands to talk about I don't even know what.
Exactly. You don't know what because you won't let me
I
speak.
clearly have no control over what you say or when you say it because you'll just do it anyway. We saw that 5 minutes ago when you tried to make yourself look like the victim again.
Is that what this is about? Jesus, Lydia, you're not the victim either.
You're right. After all, it was my fault. If I had just been a better girlfriend, then I wouldn't have driven you away. I wouldn't have driven you to do what you did because we already established it's my fault.
Are you going to be upset about that forever?
No.
You're not? I guess then I
No,
don't.
Bryce, I'm not. You know why? Because you've given me so many other things to be upset about. Let's see, having to see you every single day, the physical pain of having gonorrhea, the very invasive doctor's appointment, the embarrassment from my coworkers learning I had gonorrhea, the subsequent humiliation of them learning. Do you want me to keep going?
No, I don't. You don't have to keep
Then
going.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, then let me say it. I mean, there must be something I can say or do or.
You don't get it. You really don't. Sometimes, Bryce, when you fuck up, you can acknowledge that you fucked up and you can try to repair the damage and you can say you're sorry.
Well, I am sorry. I said I was sorry.
You can't really unfuck up. Sometimes you can't get things back to how they were. Now, can you please just let me exist here without constantly trying to do what you think is the right thing because it's not? And I would appreciate it if you stopped trying to have these conversations with me, Bryce, especially at work.
Fine. See you at the show.
See you.